Nathan shortly to go through the team managers meeting. We appreciate everyone's patience as we continue to work through some of the key operational matters with the introduction of Play HQ. I'm actually on the line at the moment working through some of the upload errors that have occurred with Play HQ, and we're pretty confident we'll have those done in the next few minutes. On behalf of everyone here, we thank you and welcome you to the 2022 season. We are fixturing, just for your awareness, we're fixturing over 455 teams this year. We've had around 20 changes in team nominations over the last 3 or 4 days, which has held us up. In addition to that, there's been some challenges with the uploading process of the new Play HQ, and our external fixturing companies been working with us throughout the last few days to fix those. In terms of our expectations, and Nathan will touch on this, the role of the team managers and the roles of the clubs is to ensure that on match day we experience as little issues as we can, whether it be around just simply making sure that the game times run on time, whether it's behaviour of spectators, whether it's behaviour of officials, whether it's behaviour of players. We're really keen to ensure that we, in the Southeast, we're one of the largest competitions within the metropolitan Melbourne precinct. With the 455, we're only 10 teams smaller than the Yarra Junior Footy League, which is a significant challenge for us. From an AFL Southeast perspective, we've made some progress with the appointment of a new operations assistant to assist Nathan. So hopefully we'll be able to introduce you to them in the next couple of days. Again, good luck for the season ahead. Hopefully by later tonight we'll be able to distribute the fixture, which will obviously be circulated to all the clubs. We're excited to be able to hopefully have an uninterrupted season. There are some challenges with still with COVID, still some challenges with umpires as we continue to rebuild those. We will be seeking the assistance of clubs around appointment of and the readiness of club umpires, one because of shortages, two because of potential COVID interruptions, but I'm sure that the network of clubs that we have are well and truly prepped for meeting those challenges. Good luck, and Nathan, I'll hand it over to you to start the presentation.
Thank you, Shaun. And again, yes, welcome all. I hope you all had a safe and enjoyable Easter period. Understanding there are certainly some concerns and some issues with where we're at. I understand we've got footy, just around the corner, but hopefully tonight we'll go through certainly a number of items there relating to team managers, and hopefully that gives you a bit of peace of mind coming into the weekend's games. It's an exciting time for all the kids. Yes, it's stressful, but it's no different, albeit in a new software system, Play HQ. A lot of it is very streamlined to what it has been. So we'll go through it. I'll go through. Shaun, if you can still hear me, mate, can you just keep an eye on the updates in terms of people coming in, the attendees, just to let them in, please. So if I can get you, if you've got questions throughout, if you can just stick your hand up, and we'll talk through them. Ideally, there's a bit to go through, and with a bit to go through, it's something we're just mindful of time and not taking up too much of it, because there's certainly, a bit to go through, and there are certain opportunities that be it come tomorrow and certainly later post-meeting where you've got the ability to come and certainly hit myself up and hit the operations team up. So my name is Nathan Harris, and I am the Junior Footy Operations at AFL Southeast. This is a recorded meeting, and it will be made available post tonight for anyone like yourselves and anyone that hasn't been able to certainly anyone else that hasn't been able to make tonight's session, it's available and it's recorded. So from that lens, if you do miss anything or you want to scroll back on something, you'll have that ability post the meeting. In terms of the agenda, we're just going through a few items up front in terms of the season dates, certainly from a league, our expectation and what that looks like, COVID-19 and team app, what they play in certainly season 2022. We will be touching base just with Play HQ and where that's at, but certainly I've sent out some links prior to this and certainly today around Play HQ, because effectively I'm probably a week or two ahead of certainly where your club contacts, your club registrars and that are at in terms of the process and the usage of that. I've now got a pretty good handle on it, but certainly there is a lot of items that I've been sitting in that's made available, and we'll just touch on those tonight. Then we'll certainly be knuckling down on team manager, the requirements, and we've sort of broken them down into the pre-game, the during game, post-game setup. So bit to go through. Again, if there's any questions, any concerns, please raise your hand, and either Shaun, if you can, keep an eye on it. We'll go through it one by one. But from the top, in terms of the season dates, this has been circulated through your certainly through your committee. Understanding Easter up top in the red, flagging a pretty disastrous start in terms of would have loved to start a bit earlier to maximise a bit more of April, but not to be. So April 24th, this weekend we start up, and we've got our two bye dates in terms of Jan 12, Queen's birthday. We certainly circulate, and we'll be having our interleague around those around that period. One sec, important people letting in, and also July 3rd, which is another one, the first weekend in school holidays. So again, this will be circulated. Hopefully this again, if it hasn't already been made and put across yourselves, this gives you a bit more clarity, and certainly to the families around holidays, when it looks like when the right time to be is, that's the way, that's where it sits, and certainly with the 3-week finals. So the first 3 rounds, April 24th, May 1st, May 8, and May 15 for those in the competitive age groups. They're your grading rounds. So from May 22nd onwards, there's your 10 weeks through to August 7, and then your 3-week final series from there. League expectations, right? Understanding that team managers, you've got a lot on your plate and you play a really pivotal role from a league, but certainly a club, to get games on the ground, on the park, and certainly communications thereby to the clubs as well. We all abide by the same code of conduct. So rules and judicial, that all team managers are aware of the rules and regulations set out in the junior competition bylaws. So the bylaws that have just come out, there's still 1 or 2 that will be tweaked. We're hoping to send that out tomorrow based on some feedback from what was sent out to committees last week. So again, that'll be sent out, but in terms of minor changes, but please, really good to have a copy of this just on your desktop at home. That way you're across anything that may come across your desk on the weekend. Communications, all team inquiries. So this is a really important one for myself. Understanding, I'm getting an assistant, a much needed assistant, but all team manager inquiries to be directed to the club. So really important at the moment, and certainly learning from my start last year, which was around this time last year, probably a month or 2 later, was the communication flow chart is really important. All comms that come, whether it be from a coach, whether it be from a parent, certainly from yourselves as team managers, needs to be cycled through the right channels, and that being through your committee and therefore through your secretary, just so there's absolute clarity from a club perspective as to what's going on, but certainly from a league, we've got a handle on, in terms of the right communications, the right contacts, because put my hand up, last year there was some communications with clubs, team managers, coaches that clubs weren't aware of, and therefore it just created, a bit of certainly some issues. So all communications, we'll work through that, and I'll show you a flow chart after this. Really advise staying away from your personal work emails and using MailChimp, Play HQ as the way to circulate certainly communications. But again, it's up to your clubs in that sense, but certainly we've had some issues with personal email addresses and what's gone through there. So just trying to streamline that process. MailChimp is available now with the new Play HQ system. So it's there, it's available, and it's fantastic to use. Just having a gauge. This is the flow chart, the list of communications. So please just have a quick look. So especially in the early rounds, given starting off a year, we understand there are some issues refixturing, but also where clubs sit with their own position with competitions and grading. So we understand there's always going to be some communications coming from parents because they're very important. They play a pivotal role, but they love to empower themselves and have a real key say in the matter. But certainly from that end, as you can see from right to left, it always goes through to your club secretary, your registrar, but also, your club committee. So certainly there's some presidents on here that I speak with respect to in these matters as well. So just need to ensure that these communication lines are adhered to and followed to, because it'll streamline my work to get, let's say in this case, the fixtures, the gradings, all that in the right space where I've got, the right communications, where I'm not jumping around between clubs and parents. It just means we can just keep things streamlined from that lens. So right to left. Just bear with me, please. Just got a couple of club contacts struggling to get in, so I'm just feeding them over to. Okay, so right to left. Team app. So this was one where Shaun introduced this last year, and leading into it, it's certainly a really easy one. And with my time in the development space at Vic Country and Dandenong Stingrays, we certainly utilise this, and it's a fantastic way to communicate, and it just means we've got the ability to put some really important pieces up there straight out to the communication lines being yourselves and certainly the committee. So this is, again, once through, if you haven't already, creating an app, create a login, search for the AFL Southeast Junior competitions. Both Shaun and myself will allow access to you guys once you've requested as a team manager, and then we'll certainly be putting through a large volume of important information regarding certainly season 2022. So there'll be a little bit more information sent out around Team App, but certainly one where myself, I'll be utilising that with my assistant to send out some pretty important information, but it also gives you the ability to quickly streamline competition bylaws, umpires, so from club umpires, which we'll touch on, the ability for club umpires to have certainly the votes, which we need, the club votes, and also for those league umpires, they'll certainly have access as well with official HQ. COVID requirements. So I know I'm moving pretty quickly through the front end stuff. Again, it's recorded, but COVID requirements, this has been sent out to all club committees. So this will be nothing new to them. So in terms of a vaccination status, because I know it's always going to come up with respect to families and certainly new participants that may jump up. There is no current demand, or certainly you do not need to be vaccinated in order to participate in the game. There is no need to be vaccinated in order to utilise the change rooms, that being a player, coach or a volunteer. What we do need to streamline is when it shifts from a participation space, so from a sporting space where it then turns into a social space. So if you're the last game at your ground and you use the function room, or let's say the committee room or a change room, when the need for that change room changes from in order to get the game up, and certainly from a coach's aspect into more of a social feel, if there were to be a barbecue or some dinners, certainly the demand, and this is obviously a government government stance here is that you do need to be fully vaccinated if it does change. And the wording there, in line with Victorian government requirements, if venues are to be used for community sport, patrons participating or facilitating in the community sport do not need to be vaccinated. However, to access facilities for the purpose other than community sport, where all attendees are required to be fully vaccinated. So that's in terms of that hospitality or entertainment space after games. So certainly as team managers need to be across this. Based on the current competition bylaws, certainly with where 2021 was at, what we do have is still a couple of these rules that have been put in play and will remain in that space. Water carriers. So 2021 addendum 7.2 runners and water carriers. So this one is very much still in play. No water carriers are permitted on the field in season 2022. Understanding that COVID is still very much in the community, and certainly understanding as team managers what has been in terms of season 2020 and 2021, we're trying to ensure that we get as much footy in. Certainly we understand we're going to get a full season in, might be interrupted in terms of maybe team by team with player numbers, but certainly we are very confident as AFL Victoria that we're going to get a full season in. We just need to put a few parameters in place that may help assist in certainly our journey to playing 14 full rounds, and that is no water carriers is one, where shared water bottles. So if kids need water bottles, you've got your team trainer or your runner that may run those waters out. So from that lens there, it's pretty specific. We want each kid to have their own water bottle and labelled, and if there is a need for a kid, the desire for a kid to have a drink, certainly in the modified space, we understand the kids can run over in their shorter quarters, but certainly in the overage space, you've got your team trainer or your runner. Okay. Spectators, this was unanimously voted in by club presidents, and it is one where certainly from a league perspective, we are fully supportive as well. Spectators are not permitted on the ground at any stage of the game or break. Okay, so just to be clear, no spectators, no parents on the ground during the game or any breaks. Okay, the only time that they are is once the umpires have left the field. Okay, unless otherwise directed by league or club officials. So what that entails, it basically means because we've got games back to back to back, we understand that with getting crowd on and off, certainly break times are certainly stretched out. We're certainly mindful of these, and we want to get these games working. And all it does also help certainly with coaches and parents not overcoaching and allowing the club coaches and the committees to really streamline the messaging. So if there is certainly requests coming to you guys as team managers around parents wanting to hear the addresses, by all means, there's nothing stopping your coaches coming over to the fence line or certainly the dugout from that sense. So, but what it does mean for us, it allows games to flow, and certainly when you're looking at match managers, club committees, right, very understanding that, they do have overflow grounds, but they want to utilise the main facilities. Yep, and a way of doing this is to ensure games are consistently flowing and adhered to in terms of the game times and the quarter time structures, the break structures. So in terms of those ones, very fully supportive of. The water carriers ones, that'll again be up for a conversation at the end of 2022 for 23. So, but for 2022, these are very much in play. Just mindful, we very much have games this weekend, and part of that entails scorecards, timekeeper cards, footballs. We now have certainly a large volume of that stock available. So I'll be speaking and sending out communications to all club presidents and contacts. However, certainly from your end, please get on the front foot, communicate with your clubs. We have scorecards, we have large volume of timekeeper cards available and ready for collection. So what we do ask is if any clubs do require and want to come pick up an allotment, to please email myself. My details are there before coming in, just so they're arranged and we limit the time you're in our facilities, certainly with COVID as well. With footballs, we now have certainly Sharon with COVID, they've been forced back with their timelines based on what they agreed to with us in November, but we have a shipment of that has just arrived. In terms of synthetic footies, 2s and 3s, we've got we've certainly got a number of those, and we've got smaller numbers of the leather footies, but we've got them available. If clubs are screaming out for balls, certainly for the early rounds, if they don't have anything left over, please get in contact with myself. But we also have a large volume of back orders for those clubs ready to process, and I'll be in the office tomorrow working through those.
And Nathan, it's Jeff Lachlan here from EDS. Just a question, please, mate.
Yes, Jeff. Sorry, mate.
That's all right. That's all right. I saw Don had his hand raised before as well.
Apologies. We'll get to them now. Yep.
No, sorry, just a couple actually. So the biggest issue I see in terms of spectators on the ground, if you call them spectators, it's the next teams that are warming up.
Yep.
That playing the next game, that come on at halftime and have a kick, or at 3/4 time and have a kick. What's the view there in terms of those, like older groups normally that come on and have a few warm up kicks?
The kids, the participants are fine. It's the parents. It's anyone that's not external, anyone external to the game. That being the game pre or post, certainly post game is not allowed. So from that lens, mate, we've got a duty of care to the kids to warm up, and certainly for them, there is absolutely a need for them to activate and warm up, especially when certainly ground sizes and available space outside of that is not prohibiting. So from that lens, mate, I'm very comfortable in certainly the next game, those kids getting out, using the time available to them in those breaks. Just mindful, certainly from team managers of the next game, and certainly the club coaches and match managers, that we're mindful of the time that is to get them on, get them off, get them on, get them off. That way we're not interfering with games. So certainly yourself, mate, at EDS, you've got large volume of clubs and teams, and your understanding of the times that are required for these games to flow. So very mindful and considerate of certainly kids getting out there and activating and having a kick. That's part of, I think, the fun as well. But certainly from a parent, if they're not part of that, whether it be a coach or someone actively involved in the next team, an assistant coach, then they're prohibited from entering the venue.
All right, that makes sense.
Does that provide you the clarity you need?
Yeah, it does, mate. And just second question, now I saw timekeeper cards are up there along with golf score cards. So we actually didn't use timekeeper cards last year from memory.
They're certainly a fallback. Certainly with live scoring and the ability of technology and other things to go wrong, they're there as a fallback, mate. And that's why we have them. Certainly they're utilised in the older space. But from us, not to have them and not to have them available, we think there's certainly a need. Last year where a couple of clubs certainly had it, because we'll talk through in a second around Play HQ and what that now entails with respect to match. Certainly match day paperwork, but to have them there, it's certainly there to draw on if things were to go belly up. But I understand what you're saying there, mate.
Okay, no worries.
Sorry, Nathan, can I ask a
yes,
quick
Don, apologies, Don.
Yeah, my name's not Donald, by the way.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's Jess, but
Jess, apologies, Jess. There we are.
Using,
How can I help you?
Someone else's computer. I'm from Bomb Beach. Just following on from what somebody just said, right? I don't know. Yeah, Jeff. So you said you gave your email address to contact you if we did need, or you said if the team needed extra footballs or those scorecards that you spoke of and timekeeping cards. So Jeff said, I didn't use scorecards or timekeeping cards last year. Is it my job to email you, or am I meant to get in touch with the registrar or secretary of my team to email you, or do I email you direct? Because it's
through the secretary. Certainly from your end, if you've got a demand from a league level, you go through your club contact, and that's your secretary, and that's part of their role. Because it means if you're asking, someone else is probably asking for something else, and they can collate it, as opposed to having 4 or 5 potential emails coming from Bomb Beach.
Correct.
They'll have So hopefully correct. Thank you. Again, saves me.
Double check, because the way it sounded was like, so you're going to get 25 different emails from, Bomb Beach team managers saying, oh, can I have some scorecards? But that doesn't make sense to me. So, yeah, so just go to my, secretary and say, can we get some scorecards happening, and you'll organise that, yeah?
Correct. Absolutely correct. Good. Thank you, Jess. That's a really important one, but absolutely through the chains of communication, because as we just touched on, it's, if you've got something, there's probably someone else from your club, and just streamlines it from there.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Amara. Hi, Amara.
Hi, Shaun. Sorry, I've just got a question. I've already requested match day balls. Do I need to request them again?
No, now that we've got them, that's part of tomorrow because they came in today. Part of that will be reaching out with yourself there, Amara.
Thanks.
Certainly those who've got back orders, who've been proactive in that space, that's where we'll reach out and certainly fulfill those ones first.
Thanks.
No dramas. Any other questions before we move on? Beautiful. So again, footies, scorecards, got them available now. So we've got now Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. For some of those, we've certainly got some people geographically close by. If there's certainly some issues coming in, we'll be able to certainly assist where possible. Match day paperwork. So this is an important one. In terms of the match day paperwork, the team sheets that come through, certainly the scorecards, that's something the club retains. So it's something whereby from a league level, if there is anything that's up for dispute, we ask the club, and they've got 7 days to draw on this paperwork and certainly bring it from their archives to our attention. So from your end, it'd be certainly a team manager's role to collate yours and certainly speak with your coordinate with your club committees as to how you want to process and handle those, whether it's something yourselves hold for the 14 rounds or whether the club demands it each week. That's certainly one for each club to determine. But certainly there's nothing that comes through to our level. It's more so we get certainly the umpires report. We certainly get the match day votes. There's a lot we get, but certainly from this end, in terms of your paperwork, please retain, because there are certainly, and it happened last year where there were certainly a couple of times we've had to go to clubs and ask for these paperwork, certainly the signed documentation, and clubs were not able to do so. So as part of that it's your requirement, and there are certainly some fines involved in that space if clubs are unable to meet those demands.
Nathan, sorry, it's Jess again. Can I just
G'day, Jess. Yes, Don Beach.
Not Don.
Yes.
So sorry. Can I ask a quick question just regarding that?
Yep.
So last year, I think I did 3 lots of paperwork each game.
Yep. As per requirement.
Yep. Well, that was my question actually. Is there a requirement as to how many? Like, is it per team or per league, or is it something that you can tell me now? Like,
there's a slide coming up which will entail what's required. Okay, so we'll leave that one for there, but certainly from that end, it's in the competition rules as well. But certainly from that, we'll touch on it shortly.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay. Play HQ. So in terms of this, a lot of material has gone out in terms of the available webinars over the course of the setup of the new system. And hopefully to all you guys as team managers, you're not scared of the new system, you're embracing it, because it's a wonderful system. It's a little fiddly up front until we get our heads around it. But from that lens, in terms of tonight's team manager session, it's not specifically centered around Play HQ. It's entailed around league level, the requirements of a team manager. That being said, part of this that'll go out post tonight with the video enables clubs to really streamline. Yeah, thank you. Enables clubs to really streamline down to what game day duties are for a team manager. And there are a couple of videos here that really highlights. And I think I spoke with Jeff in part. Jeff Locklear, mate, if you can just talk on behalf. You've seen this game day video outlining the role specific. Just, mate, if you can, everything there. Is there anything there?
It's really straightforward. Yeah, just skip past the first 4 minutes. The first 4 minutes are about club admins, how to allocate team managers to teams. So if you're just a team manager, then you don't need to watch those first 4 minutes because it's not about that role. However, if you're a club admin, then watch that whole video. But team managers, watch from about 4 minutes onwards. It just goes through the standard. They call it a game sheet, I think, in Play HQ, not a team sheet. Just a slightly different term. Very straightforward process. Yeah, pretty simple. So there's only about 8 minutes of video to watch.
At the bottom of the screen, Jeff, can you just make the point that you brought up in terms of the requirement as a team manager?
Yeah. So just make sure that the team managers are registered as team managers, not volunteers. Now, so when we originally, obviously, when we started opening up registrations for Play HQ, our parents were so forth just registering as volunteers. Then if they've put their hand up for team manager, they have to actually go back through and redo their registration so that they are a team manager. Once they're registered as a team manager, then they become available in the little drop-down list for your club admin to allocate them to a team. So yeah, if you're a TM and you've only registered as a volunteer, go back through your club's registration link and re-register as a TM.
Appreciate that, Jeff. So if you're looking here, absolutely straight after this, you'll get access to this presentation. It's more the case. The new one that came through that was sent out early today is around live scoring and its ability and how it's set up. So another one where it's a little 12-minute clip goes straight to the source of the video, right, from that lens, and it plays through. Yeah, love ads. But once you get through, it comes through. It's very easy. It's very accessible, and it gives you a real snapshot. So from a Play HQ perspective, these two clips is where you need to be, right? These two clips leading into game day on Sunday is where it is at, right? There's also another email that was sent out. Well, there was an email sent out today with another certainly link which outlines again a game day team manager's role, and basically that collates everything there. But these are the 2 points that I highly recommend you're watching, because it's from the AFL Play HQ people who set it up. It's them explaining it through, and it's how I learn, and it's exactly the right space to be from where you guys are. And the ability for live scoring means, from a match day paperwork perspective, a lot of it's done. It's done straight up. It's done then and there. And from this tutorial, if you've got a couple of people in mind, certainly from yourselves, but a couple of people in mind who you think might be available game day to do it, a really easy way for them to get their head around it. And it does save a lot of paperwork, less paperwork at the end of a game if it's already done live throughout the game. What live scoring also does for the competitive age groups is, for those parents who are unable to attend, you can certainly get a link, certainly get an update through the Play HQ, right, in terms of how live scoring goes, how the game's travelling at each quarter break and through each stages of the game. So highly recommend it. These links, 2 12-minute clips, certainly they're available for you at your own time. Again, conscious of time tonight.
I have a quick question on that. Sorry.
Hello. Sorry, let me get out. Sean's not here, so I'm fiddling through. Yes, I've got a couple. Who we got?
Yes,
Ashley.
Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
From Bomb Beach. In regards
Bomb Beach. Again.
Yes. Again, look
yep.
out.
No dramas. Won't hold it against you. Go for it.
Who's responsible if we choose to do live scoring? Who's responsible of live scoring? Home team, away team, both? What's the scenario?
The home team, absolutely, but certainly from a live scoring aspect, if the away team's got the ability to do so, and because at the end of the game you collate your scores anyway and you get a score check, it just means life's easy. So certainly home club would be asking for, but if and it's not a requirement, if clubs don't have so but the away team does, by all means get it in play. You there, Stacey? You got your hand up, Stacey?
Sorry, I've forgotten how to use Teams. It's been a while.
Yeah, me too.
Is it a requirement to do live scoring? Do we have to do live scoring?
You do not. You do not.
Yep.
It's not a requirement,
yep,
but it's there as a feature, an available feature. So if it's there and available and you've got the ability to do so,
yeah,
please do so, because it's fantastic. And again, it just means your scores are entered in. So from my lens, yeah, certainly Sunday 8 o'clock, we want all scores in. So then that way, from a competition ladder, from competition management, we can comb through those at the course of each round to make sure everything's above board. while moving on to the next round. So from that lens, it's done then and there.
Yep.
Right,
Okay.
it's
And
done
is there
then and there,
so under 11s and up? Yeah.
Yep. Competition age. Yep. Competitive age groups 11's up. Really a fantastic 12-minute clip there, which highlights exactly how it's done. So whether it's via your phone or whether it's done via a tablet, they've made it really, a really simple feature. And again, I think all that's needed is some Wi-Fi, some internet access, and clubs, for clubs to use, and then away you go. Thank you. Ashley, you still got your hand up, Bomb Beach? Or are you done? Done. Thank you. Jessica?
Oh, hi. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I've got you.
Fabulous. I asked a question in the chat, but it's probably just disappeared now. I'm just wondering, you keep talking about this Sunday. I'm probably like a lot of people just wondering about where we might be playing this Sunday and when we're going to find that out, because I've got a lot of families with multiple children who have to get them multiple places and would like to know when and where they're meant to be getting them.
Yep. So Shaun is he's online, but he's not online at the moment. So Shaun made a brief upfront comment around that at the start of this meeting.
Sorry, I must have been
that's okay. We've certainly got work, and we're parents ourselves. It's more highlighting the fact we've now got the data. We're now working through the final couple of hiccups within Play HQ and uploading and updating it into the system. So where it's probably only a matter of hours as opposed to
So we should just keep refreshing and making sure we're keeping an eye on that then?
Refreshing, I would say, from probably about 8:30 onwards. 8:39 onwards is probably where it's going to land, just based on we're working. Shaun's currently offline.
Amazing.
Working with Play HQ at the moment, just tidying up a few areas, but certainly from our end, we've got. Oh, g'day, Shaun. You're waving.
I can see you waving.
You're waving.
Thank you so much.
How you going, Shaun?
Yeah, good. Just an update. The challenges we're having at the moment is that administrators are changing the name of the teams, and in doing so, we're creating errors in the upload. So I just ask that there's no more changes being made to team names and so forth, because it's creating significant holdups. So,
and I think we're certainly learning a lot from this. The first year of using Play HQ, but certainly from next year we're going to have a lot of education and understanding of the system. But we're just working through those final little ones, and considering Shaun mentioned how vast and how large we are as an organisation, and certainly as a league, there's certainly these small challenges we're just tidying up, but not too far away, as Shaun just mentioned. Couple more questions. Jonathan.
Hey, quick one about Play HQ.
Yep. Can
you register if you're a TM as a volunteer for another child's team?
Can you volunteer? Yes. Jeff, you there, mate?
Yeah, mate. Sorry, I missed the question. What was the question?
Can you, so if you're already registered as a TM for a team, but you have another child playing a different division, can you register as a volunteer for that second child's team?
Yeah, yes, but volunteers, any other roles don't need to be selected on the team sheet per se. They're just a free text field. So the only two roles that need to be selected from a drop-down list are your coach and your team manager. Everything else is just a free text entry.
Yeah. So based on that, with your game day sheet, the roles that are specific, you can type in those. So in terms of your name there, mate, you just type it in based on a free text, as opposed to needing. So a coach will need a drop-down link with the relevant name, certainly a team manager, as Jeff just mentioned. So it was just more, Jeff, had you come across anyone that's tried that? But certainly from that lens,
when I look in our participation database, I see that people have both a volunteer registration and a team manager registration. So I don't see that being an issue. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Even if you went the other way, when it's a team, then a volunteer. Yeah.
So from that lens, once you're a team manager, at least you'll get the user access. When you're a volunteer, you don't need user access. You can just be typed in free type. So hopefully there's a bit of clarity. Piersdale Baxter, we've got a contact from Piersdale there.
Hey, Nate, it's me, John, mate. How are you?
G'day, John. Okay, mate. Busy times, mate. Sorry.
Yes.
You got a question?
Right. Just a quick one. Under 10s, do you need a record of any scores?
Under 10s, we'll touch on that, but absolutely. So under 10s, what I can say, and it's probably the right time here now, you've touched on it, certainly with the under 8s, 9s and 10s, we understand that they're non-competitive and scores are irrelevant. What we've done with Play HQ is there'll be no ladders and there'll be no live scores on the website. But what it does do is it helps me, if scores are entered, to enable a competitive competition. Right, and I know, let's say from SCJ and FDJ, SCJ did it really well last year, where we just had a little bit more of an understanding, and it was no fault of FDJ's, but certainly from my lens and the league, there'll be certainly some documentation coming out around the requirement for scores to be entered in those age brackets, just for when it does come to the point. If we've got a team who's, kicked 15 goals to a team who's kicked 0 in a non-competitive format, it means that we need to work around getting a better competitive balance there. And the only way a league gets an understanding of that is through a conversation with a club secretary or certainly a president around this. But certainly from my lens, I'll be looking at scores, and that'll just help that case. John, thank you. Appreciate that.
No worries, bud.
Amara, you got your hand up again?
Yes, sorry, Nathan. I had bad audio issues before, but I see Shaun's posted a link to the match day checklist. So I don't know if he touched on that, but
coming up shortly.
Okay, because I can't download the app and the link on the website doesn't work to take you to how to download it as well.
Okay, well, I might take this offline with yourself. Yep, sorry, Shaun.
Sorry, just quickly. The only one that we've got access to at the moment is the Cricket Australia one. We're trying to find the link for the AFL, but there is a requirement to complete the match day checklist. I've put that link in the chat, and if there's an update, we'll put that in the team app application.
Okay, so we use the Cricket Australia one, and there's no app for it at the moment.
We're finding it difficult to find the AFL one, so we're not getting much answers the other way. So we'll chase that up. If I find it before the end of the meeting, I'll let you know.
Thanks.
Yep. So just highlighting the fact that there are a few webinars. There's another one tonight, shortly, which will be kicking off, but also one again on Thursday around game day for those that want to scrub up a little bit more in terms of the Play HQ space and around game day team manager roles. So certainly from that lens, you click on the below link, which will be provided to you in this presentation. That'll take you to the webinars available, but certainly from a game day level, the next one, 7:30 tonight, but more so Thursday at 8 o'clock. If you are having any issues, so certainly from a Play HQ perspective as a team manager or a club admin, club help are there, right? They've been fantastic, and certainly any issues we have from a league level, and that albeit being questions that you may have for us that we don't know, we go to them. Fantastic. They're available, clubhelp@afl.com.au. That's certainly the one to go to, along with them being readily available between 9 and 5 on the 1-800 Play AFL space. So if you've got any issues, certainly, again, like I said earlier, ourselves at AFL Southeast and again, or other leagues, we're coming up to speed as quick as we can with where Play HQ's at and what's available. Certainly, we've got a base understanding and a base knowledge, but certainly if there are anything there that you feel that, yep, you need a little bit more information on, and or you think it might be quicker to go through them in terms of us as a third party, go them direct on the below details. Now we're just going to cover off, certainly on a game day, the requirements as a team manager. So from a Sunday pre-match through to a Sunday game day, post-match, and also a Monday. This will also outline reports and how that process works in the bigger scheme of things. So Shaun, mate, please chime in if you feel the need for some clarity around this.
Just before you move into that, sorry, in regards to
Jeff,
Play
yes. G'day, Jeff.
In regards to Play HQ support, there's also a Facebook page, which it's AFL Community Club Play HQ Administrators page, which is a national page. And there are, so a lot of people are putting questions up there because, as we can imagine, we're one league out of the whole nation. there's lots and lots of questions that have been rolled out there, and that's based. I'll send you a I'll send you a pic of the group name. Yep.
If you could, mate, that'd be great. And if you can put that on the screenshot of it or the text, if you can write that in the Q&A, that'd be great. Yeah. So on a match day, a requirement from a team manager, ensure the persons, right, that people that you've got designated for roles, the below roles, are there and aware of the roles itself, because that will certainly assist with the flow on of the games. So the flow on of these duties as per the requirements and duties from a league level. So your coach and your assistant coach must be registered in the Coach AFL space. Your first aiders qualified. You've got a timekeeper allocated. Your goal umpire is available, and you've got armbands for those in the modified space. Team sheet. So this is one we touched on earlier around, I think it was yourself there, Jess, from Bomb Beach, in terms of what's required from a team sheets and what's collated. So 3 copies are required to be produced. The same team sheet of your club, 1 handed to the opposition team manager prior to the game, 1's retained by yourselves. That's part of your collation of your match day paperwork that the league may need to draw on. And certainly 1's provided to the umpires prior to the game. The team sheets, the game sheets must include the name of the coach, right? So the coach must be registered, certainly on Coach AFL, in order for him to be linked and access to it. Yourself, your name as a team manager, your runner and your trainer. So they need to be cited on there in case there's any issues from an umpire perspective. If there's any issues come through from the communication, let's say the box, the interchange box, where there's some issues, we certainly know who's there and who's around. So there's some clarity around that. Each club to verify each other's list and sign off of each club's players before handing over. What's it say behind there? Yeah, both clubs to retain. Thank you. Each club must retain for 4 weeks after the season and must be present if required within 7 days if asked from a league level. So just highlighting again, clubs, certainly yourself as a team manager, whether you collate your 14 rounds or whether it's something the clubs get off you each week. If the league asks for this documentation, you've got 7 days to hand it in. So you must collate the documentation. Play HQ. So this is one where, again, part of that 12-minute clip that Jeff and myself spoke on before, it'll allow you, right, the education space around how to assign players to a team sheet. Players are no longer required to sign, but certainly as a team manager, we're simply recording the players who do not play as a did not play or align through them. This is an adaptation made to reduce overall contact with the paperwork. So, again, just with COVID and where that's at, it's more the case that, you've got the right players with the right numbers. And from there, if anyone that is on the team sheet, because you print it out and you haven't got your exact team, draw a line through it or a DNP. That way, there's some clarity around that to both opposition and umpires. Team managers need to place a completed sheet in the umpire's room before the start of the match, which we've highlighted, as well as a signed sheet to the opposition. So again, just reiterating what steps there are from a game day level. And a team manager's duty is to retain that 3rd copy and, record the scores after the umpire waves the flags. All players and interchange players must be listed in the correct jumper numbers. So we understand that there may be blood jumpers or jumpers unavailable. You've still got the ability, like we said, to, as long as it's consistent on the three documentation, the 3 paperwork, the clear numbers are the same on all those 3. You then have the ability also post-game to update the jumper numbers on Play HQ, right, up until 8 o'clock that night. If you can get on the system, update. It just means that, again, both umpires with respect to names, clubs, opposition teams are aware of players in jumpers, and certainly from a league level, we've got an understanding if, an incident or an altercation were to start. As a team manager, we've also got the duty of being aware of what time our quarters start, along with the breaks and the times to allow, certainly the coaches to be sort of reminded around, their ability to get their players back out on the ground. So certainly that's a big part of the team manager's role. Highlighting on screen is just the numbers applicable to each of the age groups required. So again, this will be sent out. It gives you a little bit more of a snapshot around each respective age group based on the team managers that they have. But in terms of what numbers they need to start, what numbers they need as a minimum on field with evening up made available, what's the max on the bench, and what's the maximum on a team sheet that you can have.
Nath, I think there's a problem there. The girls should be 16, the last row.
Starting numbers on the field, correct, mate. Thank you. I'll tidy that up when we send out. Thanks, Jeff.
No problems.
Player points. Shaun, I think someone may have just chimed in. Can you just give them access if you can? Player points. So in terms of teams in the under 13 and under 18 age groups, can only play with a maximum of 10 transfer points in certainly the SEJ and the FDJ top age space. So we understand that FDJ will come into that space in 2023, but certainly from under 13s and under 18 space in the SEJ top age competitions, but certainly from the FDJ clubs, your 15s through to 18s, you've only got a maximum of 10 transfer points to play with unless there's been some special granted dispensation from a league level. For administration purposes, the team sheet will be capped. So from our level, because a normal homegrown player default position is 1 point. So that plus your 10 points, we've gone through and capped what a team sheet certainly will allow players to be assigned. So if you've got 12 transfer point players you want on the team sheet, you won't be allowed. It won't allow you to align one player to it. So just keeping that in mind, that part of your role as team manager is the eligibility, right? The correct eligibility of its players in the team sheet. This is, again, part of our responsibility as a league level to put parameters in place to ensure that these rules are followed. It is a responsibility of the team manager to ensure that they do not have any more than 10 transfer players selected on a team sheet for any given match. So that goes without saying, that's just holding the integrity from a competition space and from a league level. The player points in itself, right, there'll be some modifications at the end of the season as to what 2023 looks like, but just making it clear that it is consistent that a normal default player, any homegrown player, will default to 1 point. That 1 point won't be allocated to your transfer points. Transfer points, as per the competition rules, is those who are transferring within comp to comp. So an FDJ to an FDJ, an FDJ to an SEJ, along those lines, whether you're category 2, 3 or 4, it's all in the competition rules, but you've got 10 points essentially, and it all goes through in the competition rules. So certainly one as a team manager just need to be mindful and understanding, and certainly your registrars will be well across this space when having transfer players enter the club in the off season. Just highlighting here, nothing changes with respect to the duration of games and the breaks. What we do have, though, is the league has gone down the path of having a sole football supplier. Sole football supplier being Sharon. We are mindful that clubs are sitting on stock, and albeit that may be, Sharon stock from last year, it might be Ross Faulkner stock from the SEJ clubs. We're understanding of that. As long as they are league, they were and are part of the league assigned balls, you've got the permission to use them first. So again, touching on the fact that we've got Sharon running late with the delivery of our match balls. If you've got footies from last year, we employ you to use those balls. And certainly for some of these age groups where we're very tight on, absolutely, I think in your case, let's say Amara, for example, if you've got any Ross Faulkner balls as a Berwick North, absolutely use those first. Otherwise, as we touched on, we'll be touching base to fulfil your updated 2022 order. Again, highlighting, as we said earlier, team managers, really important you understand the time and the duration of your quarters, but the breaks, and that's essential to getting these games moved on, essential to getting these games aligned with umpires in terms of, making sure that games are starting at the times we need them to be. During the game, okay, for the protection of umpires, ground marshals shall be escorted, right? Umpires will be escorted from the ground marshals from the field to the dressing room by the officiating ground marshals on the day from both teams. When leaving the ground at halftime and at the end of the game in all grades, so just making it clear, ground marshals are the ones who approach the umpires and escort them to and from the field. Officials, right? Who is allowed to be inside the perimeter, as we said before, without with where we are with COVID and the addendums, we've got no spectators allowed. The only people that are permitted to be within the fenced area in the marked coach's box area are as follows. Any player, any interchange player that's been named on the team sheet. One trainer, your listed coach, your listed assistant coach. Again, they must be accredited in those age groups, and part of that will mean that they need to be accredited anyway in order for them to be on the team sheet. Your runner, and certainly yourselves as a team manager. So just to be clear, your interchange players, anyone that's on your team sheet, only those on your team sheet. One trainer, your coach, your assistant coach, your team runner, and yourselves as a team manager. Very clear. And certainly with respect, we know you've got brothers, your kids may have brothers. We understand that there may be some players from other teams or higher teams that want to sit on the bench with your players. Not permitted. Okay, let's just keep this clear, keep it open. That way, if certainly a COVID aspect came into play, we've got only the right people there, and it may only affect the one team from your club. And again, highlighting, we spoke earlier around Play HQ. Again, this is certainly touched on in terms of the user guide, but there's some more information. And the link is the one, that's the important one at the moment. The link there in blue at the bottom, https://afl.score Play HQ, that's the link to actually go in and utilise live scoring on the given day, on game day. So that's there for you. But again, refer back to that Play HQ link that was provided and will be provided when we send out on the Play HQ section. Without looking, are there any questions? Just coming back out. Just bear with me, sorry.
I have one.
Questions?
Nathan.
Yes, is that Stacey?
No, it's Jess or
Jess. Yeah, Donald. Thanks, Jess. Bombage.
Yeah. I didn't put my hand up. Sorry if I interrupted. Or just a quick one. That what you just said about ground marshals.
Ground marshals. Yes.
Assisting the umpires on and off.
Yep.
Field. So I don't know if this is a new thing or not, but that definitely didn't happen, well, with my team at all last year. So is this like a full on rule? I've got to make sure that my ground marshal assists the goal umpires on and off the field. Is that what I'm understanding?
Club umpires. Sorry, the officiating umpires. Is that what
yes.
You there, Shaun? Cricket.
Or maybe that's because last year my team was under 10s. They've just gone up to under 11s.
Yep. So you wouldn't have had league appointed umpires.
Right.
Yep. Okay. So if you've got club umpires, it differentiates because they're naturally going to filter to their own clubs. But certainly from a league level with league appointed umpires, that's certainly the requirement that's put in place. So that might become more apparent to yourselves there. Right. Jess at Bomb Beach.
Yes.
Shaun, ground marshals, is that? Certainly that's been put in place for escorting umpires in the competitive age groups. That was season 2021 and it will be consistent.
Yeah, it's certainly been around for the escorting of umpires off the field has been around for a long time. So it's certainly in the competitive age groups that's been the case.
So that might be where you're talking there, Jess, in the sense that your son or daughter will now be moving into the competitive age group, and that might be now a bit more applicable to yourselves.
That's under 11s up. Correct?
Correct. Yep. Competitive age brackets.
Get it. I get it now. Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Stacey, do you have your hand up?
Yes. Hi. Thank you. Just a question. Just so do ground marshals and goal umpires need to be on the team sheet?
Correct.
Yep. So
Yep.
as it was with Sports TG, game day, whatever it was, you still had to put them on the team sheet as well. Yep.
Yep, and that can be done. They don't have to be, as we said before, they don't have to be registered. They can.
Oh, they don't have to be registered with.
They need to be a volunteer.
Oh, volunteer with Play HQ.
Absolutely registered as a volunteer.
Yeah.
They don't need to be registered and given access to anything as a team manager.
Oh, yeah. So just as it was in the past. Yeah. And another question, who can approach the umpires at halftime or quarter time?
Yep. Okay. I'll bring something up on page shortly around that, but certainly as a team manager, it's been included that in the duties of your role, you have that capacity. But certainly from that space, it's the captain. Certainly the captains, and from that level, all communications through there. Shaun, do you want to highlight anything further?
Yeah, sorry, just quickly, just in terms of the registering of the volunteers, as part of that process, it's the it's the club's responsibility to ensure that the working with children check compliance has been checked off. So when you ask your volunteers to register, it is a requirement for them to enter in their WWCs in line with the standards of the child safety protocols. Thanks,
so
guys.
the same as it has been. Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, although the point of difference is that this year we're not using the third party company.
Everproof.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was hard. Yeah.
So it's all into one system now.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
So again, highlighting, Shaun, is certainly from a league level, we're asking clubs to certainly collate the working with children, have that. It's the responsibility of the clubs to have the working with children's, that information available. But part of the registration of a volunteer is to have that put in place anyway. Anything further or moving on?
Yeah, just quickly, sorry.
Apologies, I can't see what it is unless I click back. Yep, here we go. Tammy?
So I'm from Lyndhurst. I'm getting a bit confused with the Grand Marshals. So we had umpire escorts last year, plus we had Ground Marshals. Ground Marshals had a completely different role. So which one is it? So the umpire escorts would do the umpires, and the Ground Marshals actually circulated the ground to make sure. This is in the Southeast Juniors, so I'm not sure. Have we only got Ground Marshals now?
You there, Shaun? Yeah, so from that lens, it's the Ground Marshal's role. So I think umpire escorts, correct me if I'm wrong to anyone else, but it's umpire escorts are phased, and that part of their role is the Ground Marshal's role.
Okay.
Time in between. So Tammy, you said from Lyndhurst, I might reach out to you just to provide you a little bit more information post this, just if you need some more clarity.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks.
Yep. Okay, just touching now based around if a match day report happens. So you've got a league appointed umpire, a report happens, the notification from the umpire is made verbal, right? Certainly to the player. In showing of a card, a red, a yellow or blue, the reason for the card is not for the player, but it's for yourselves as team managers and the timekeeper. So from a visual aspect, you're aware of what the card is. So from that lens, and it certainly there highlights what the process is. So from a blue card, the card is there not as a report, but more so as a cooling off only to the player. It's 15 minutes and the player can be replaced without any time elapsing. So if a blue card happens, player off, player on, right? And that player that comes off has 15 minutes to sit out. So part of a team manager's role is to certainly be notified by the umpire of what the card is, and then jot down the time. And from there, 15 minutes, she has to serve their time before coming onto the field. A yellow card is 15 minutes off playing time. The player cannot be replaced until that 15 minutes of time has been elapsed. And this is a report. So any player that's been reported, right, for a second offence, so if you get another yellow card, if you're looking from that lens, back you go, sorry. making sure from the wording. Yep, shall be sent from the field with a red card. So if you get 2 yellows, as it is in soccer, it's a red card, and for the remainder of the match, that player is not able to participate, but certainly can be replaced after the 20 minutes of what a red card is. So again, I think just for clarity, any player or official, because that's certainly where the umpires can land, reported for a second offence listed in the rules, 22.2, 22.3 in the competition rules, you'll see, shall be sent from the field with a red card for the remainder of the match. So not able to participate in the game in any space. If it's a red card for an official, they have to leave the premises, certainly leave the area of the ground where they're coming from, and certainly a player cannot be replaced until after 20 minutes of time, actual playing time. Red card, as we just said before, remainder of the match, they're off. Players cannot be replaced. So just highlighting the fact that if a match day report happens, again, you'll have the ability to draw off this and print this off and have this available, but certainly that's as per to the competition rules. That's the process. That's what it looks like. Hopefully you won't get a taste of it, but certainly making yourself aware of it is really important. And again, this will just be on this presentation too, but umpire will complete an online report form. Umpires receives a copy. The copy also goes to the head of umpiring at AFL Southeast. From there, submissions, check for accuracy. Once forwarded, it comes to myself and tribunal. So this will all be sent out. Post-match, we'll talk a little bit more now. So no report or incident occurred in the game. So if there was no report or no incident throughout the game, it was a cracker of a game. Club A beat Club B by 1 point, 6 goals, 4 goals. The requirement of a team manager is to visit the umpire's room. And certainly the umpires have come and given us the space of around 5 minutes post-game after the completion just to receive the all clear. And it's really important as team managers that we get this all clear, because if there's something that transpired, whether there's a report or let's say there's been a report from another umpire that's been labelled, you as team manager are required to be made aware of this so you can make the right steps to the club. The umpire requirements, umpires are required to complete their own paperwork. So they've got a QR code which will be provided in the change rooms. So there are certain clubs here that will need to provide these too, but from a match day paperwork perspective, they'll have their own paperwork to do. They'll QR code, they'll tick all the boxes there. So no issues, we move on. But certainly from a team manager, just need to get that green light. And then from there, if you've got, scores and goal kickers as per the user guide, that's where we'll need to have those put in by 8 p.m. Just keeping in mind, if live score took place, these scores will automatically be put in along with the goal kickers. So it just means if you get live scoring put in place and you get proactive in that space, it means there's less work for you post-game. From a club umpire, so there'll be some more communications as we go through leading up to this round one. So whether it's tomorrow or Thursday, sent to your respective presidents and committees just around where umpiring's at and the appointments. Certainly we understand today's Tuesday and we've got games Sunday, so there'll be appointments put in place now that we've got basically a fixture ready to send out. Part of that is from a club umpire post-game, the process from top to bottom. So before I go into it, just want to be clear that it's the expectation that, especially given how the umpiring space at the moment is where it's at. It's been very widely documented from an AFL level that we have a shortage of umpires. It's the expectation that clubs, and certainly each team, has a ready-to-go club umpire in the event, certainly with where COVID's at, but in the event of an umpire not being available. Certainly clubs and teams should be made aware if they haven't been appointed an umpire, but certainly also if things were to happen game day due to illness or car broke down, that we have an umpire ready to go. In saying that, right, little Jimmy's dad, little Sally's mum stepped up, umpired the game. Again, team managers, it's our role post-game to go and get the all clear just to make sure everything's fine. If any issues took place, we need to be made aware of them But our role is to then, certainly get the all clear from the umpires. The club umpires, there's a jot form that'll be sent out to clubs, but certainly we're looking to get a QR code made for yourselves as team managers. So what will be really important here is just for the competition, the competitive age brackets, that we get the club umpires to come together and pick a 3-2-1 and put those in. That's part of certainly the post-game procedure as a club umpire. So it's really important for the integrity of the competition with best and fairest. I know there were a couple of games last year that we had to go back and draw from club umpires, and they believed player X and player Y were the best players, but through a bit of umming and ahhing, and certainly from some cloudy days between whether how factually correct that was. So just from an integrity point of view, that jot form's done post-game as it would from any other normal umpire. Only takes 2 seconds. From a match day, again, through the process, we add the results. So whether you have a club umpire, the same thing, we still go through the checklist from a team manager's perspective, and we enter the team scores and the goal kickers post-game. We've got up until 8 p.m. Sunday night for those to be put in. Again, highlighting, if live score put in play, then this would automatically be done then and there throughout the game. So there's obviously some real pros to getting live scoring up and going. The requirement for putting scores in is that of the home team manager for every age group, if it wasn't done from a live scoring aspect. So again, I'm conscious of time, and I know I'm scanning through things pretty quickly, but are there any questions before I carry on? Silence. That's a first. Sunday post-match. So after the game, a match day report has taken place.
Put your hand up.
Put your hand up. Someone's got a hand up.
Nathan, it's Jim from YC. How are you?
G'day, Jim. Well, mate.
Yeah, just a quick question. Is there umpire training available online this year? Because I've looked everywhere and I can't find anything.
There's certainly some things being put in place at the moment, mate, and we'll get that circulated.
Okay, will that be this week?
That's certainly our intention, mate. Absolutely.
Thank you.
For those club umpires.
Thank you.
Both team managers, again, so this should be just part of your checklist. Again, after the game, visit the umpires, give them 5 minutes, get the all clear. Absolutely. In this case, a report's taken place. The umpire, again, as you would be aware throughout the game with the card being viewed, you'd be aware that there's a report. The umpires would go through their process, and that is, certainly putting that report in their match day paperwork. Umpires are required to verbally notify both team managers. So part of getting the all clear, and in this case, not the all clear, you'll both be verbally notified of the report from the umpire. The umpire will offer a set penalty or notify team managers of their wish to send the incident directly to the tribunal. So from the checklist, part of, let's say, a striking incident, what the penalty for that would be. All right, let's say there's a set penalty of 1 week. Certainly from the lens of a club, if they want to contest that, well, then they have the ability to do so. Here we say that clubs have the option to accept a set penalty. So the club of the offending player have the option to accept a said penalty or notify myself and footy operations at the league by 12 p.m. first business day after the game. So in this case, clubs have till midday of Monday to either accept a set penalty or contest and move it to a tribunal hearing. So part of a team manager, this is part of your role, right? Understanding you're getting the verbal from certainly the umpire, but then working through with the club around the sanction in terms of the player, whether you want to contest that or not. So if you do have, as a team manager, a report, certainly take note, get all the information from the umpire, take that directly to your football operations from a league, from a club level, and work through the process from there. The umpires, right, the umpiring department, they'll get notification of the report, and as we said earlier, the regional director of umpiring will email that to myself and to Shaun and the COO regarding the events that took place in the match day. Non-match day reported incidents. So let's say, for example, an incident took place in a game, but it now filters out where some information's come to light post game where it hasn't been reported from an umpire, it hasn't been viewed or written up from an umpire around an incident. And it's more so now learning from whether it's players or from a parent viewing that there's been something taking place that as a club you feel the need to take further and have investigated. Okay, so here's the process from here. If there is an unbecoming conduct, clubs must adhere to rules under Rule 5.0 of the AFL Vic Country Handbook. So the AFL Vic Country Handbook is readily available online. If you do have an incident there and it does fall in line with the rules, clubs, and again, this goes through the communication chain of command through your club secretary or president, clubs must lodge within 5 days of the act. So Sunday, so within 5 days, meaning, Friday, close of business with the deposit of $500. So this will be one where, absolutely have to work through with the club to work through that space of where this offence sits and whether there's grounds for it to be taken further. In saying that, I know a lot of clubs have been proactive in having presidents speaking within presidents from club to club to work out exactly the parameters around what took place, to get a little bit more information to see whether a club has taken their own measures in disciplinating certain kids. I know that's taken place. But certainly from this lens, from a league level, you've got 5 days after the offence took place. So from that lens, it just hopefully gives you a little bit more scope. The communication needs to come from the secretary or the president. Has anyone got any questions over the last 2 slides? Conscious of time, you'll have this sent out to yourselves. No hands up, thank you. Monday, again, we're talking match day reports. So hopefully all you team managers there from a non-competitive age group, hopefully this is going, in one ear, you're retaining it, but hopefully you won't have to put it in place. If a club wishes to contest a match day report, as we said earlier, they have not taken a set penalty, they must email myself on the email that's there by 12 p.m. on the Monday. We play Sunday games on the Monday. So from that lens, if no notification has been received, the player will automatically receive the set penalty. Okay, so it's now 12:05, it's now 10 past 12. The report, nothing's been said game day about accepting the set penalty. Nothing's been said around contesting. Myself and the operations team will move to apply the set penalty to that player. The notifications for this, following notifications from the umpiring department from the weekend, myself will notify clubs on the Monday morning around the requirement to either attend a tribunal hearing or accepting the set penalty. If a player has been cited by the match review panel, they will be notified as soon as possible post-day. So again, from that lens, match review panel mainly just deals with the senior space, but if there's any issues, it then falls in line, as we said, a set penalty or a tribunal. And the tribunal's rule of thumb is on a Wednesday evening, maybe Tuesday, Thursday, depending on how busy a weekend it's been in the umpire space. If the reported player, and this is important, if the reported player has been previously suspended or reprimanded in that current or the preceding season, the player will not be able to apply for a set penalty. And this person, this person will then be made to accept the minimum prescribed penalty or attend a tribunal hearing based on ourselves at a league level from a sanction point of view. So just want to make that clear. If you've got a player who's been cited that season or the season prior, the league will look into that. You won't be able to accept the set penalty up front, and we'll be able to work through the tribunal history as to whether a player can accept that set penalty or whether we want them to come in and contest a tribunal hearing. Again, as we said before, notifications will be sent by 5 p.m. So this is from a league level. We'll send out communications to the clubs around what's transpired and that there will be set penalty or tribunal hearing following a report from the weekend. Tribunal hearings scheduled on Wednesday evenings at Casey Fields. If the club of the charge player wish to appeal a verdict that's been handed down at the tribunal, they must follow the AFL Victoria Country Handbook guidelines. Any questions before moving on? Just based around the junior match policy, there's currently being a couple of things tidied up in that girls space, around that under 12 girls space, in terms of FDJ versus SEJ, understanding SEJ from an entry level. The under 12 girls is the entry level for their standalone girls space, where for FDJ it's the under 10s. So just based on that, the match policy is being updated on the bylaws to reflect SEJ playing modified rules and FDJ playing their full ground as per what was put in place by presidents in 2021. So again, here just highlights certainly what's the modified space is and the terminology around where that's at. From a younger age group, from a team manager's perspective, again, I won't go through these ones tonight, but here are just the expectations from a league level around what it all looks like. So again, for those that are team manager of these age brackets, certainly really important that you get ahead, you head around this space, under 9s, under 10s, under 8s, 9s, 10s in the non-competitive age brackets. Just before rounding out, just want to just highlight the fact Little Demons Day for the SEJ team managers, for those in the 8s, 9s, 10s, will take place this coming Sunday. Communication's been sent out to clubs along with fixtures and the handbook today for those games on Sunday at Casey Fields. For FDJ, you've got your St Kilda in partnership. You've got your St Kilda round on May 15th, round 4. And around that, there'll be some communications around the activation of what that looks like. The round being, certainly called Little Saints round, but then also some activation from St Kilda at some certain club level. So some club trainings where you'll get some player appearances from that. But certainly there'll be some more communications around that. As Shaun said earlier, it is the club. It is, the duty of care. It's the club's requirement to handle the working with children's details. So like with the paperwork, if from a league level we've got some concerns raised or something's come up around a said volunteer and we've asked for their credentials, it's certainly a club, it's certainly the requirement of the club to have that readily available. We understand that part of Play HQ have the ability for that person to need to put in their working with children's details. But certainly from that space, we also want clubs to have that information, certainly on a database, readily available from that sense. But the requirements from AFL Victoria that, with all respect, anyone over the age of 18, the minimum requirement is a working with children's track, and that's for all committee members in that space, the coach, the team manager, the trainers, anyone potentially of an overnight trip, if you were to do any camps or anything post or during season, if there are anything involved in that space, certainly you need all those people to have the right credentials as well. So we just want to make sure we're ticking the box, because as we know, we do this for the kids, and we just want to make sure there's an absolute environment of a safe space for the kids involved in the game. So with respect to tonight, that's the team managers meeting. So there's a lot of information. It is recorded. It'll be available post. I can't stress the links that's being made available by Play HQ, right, in terms of what's there from a game day level. I wouldn't do it justice if I was explaining it. Certainly the people there that have created these webinars and these little snapshots, professionals at what they do, they're employed by Play HQ, they've gone through it. It's very neat, it's very tidy. It is very specific to what we need as team managers. Go back, and again, I'll go back to the page. That's from a Play HQ level. That there is where it's at. That there is the information that's needed for us to feel better about ourselves come Sunday. And that's what you can find in this space here, but certainly also live scoring. And with respect to what your presidents and secretaries received today, there's a lot more information that's been made available based on what was sent through from Play HQ to yourselves at a club level. Has anyone got any questions before allowing people to go back to a normal life of parenting? And
Nathan?
Yes.
Yeah,
ladies,
just one other one.
Sorry, ladies first. Was that Amara? Ashley?
Yeah, so Ashley. Yep. Quick question from a uniform point of view. Yep. I'm doing under 14 girls, and I know the league the supply the shorts to the clubs. If the shorts haven't arrived in time, what's the expectation from the shorts and point of view? Are they okay to wear whatever they have until you guys are able to get them to the club?
I will gain further information, but absolutely I believe that to be the case. Whatever we need to do to get these games off the ground, understanding that through COVID and through other reasons none of your own, that they're not available. Have they given you a timeline around that?
They did. Well,
they
did.
Or are we talking just the weekend?
No, well, they did say by the end of the month, so obviously maybe by round 2, 3. So but some girls do have them, some don't. So it's just going to be half and half at the moment.
Again, we're understanding of the circumstances. It's not military. Whatever we need to do to get games, understanding in your situation, you've got them ordered, and no fault of your own, they're not here yet. So whatever you need to do, obviously we want to keep it uniform and as best represented as we can. We're understanding as team managers, and I'll highlight this now, is the requirement is home shorts only. So home shorts only is a requirement from a league level for both FDJ and SCJ for clubs going forward. But from that lens, And Shaun, you're there, mate. Are you comfortable with that? Shorts?
Yeah, totally. You might want to stop sharing your screen. Look, we're aware that there are some challenges with supply at the moment, whether it's footballs or apparel. So, as I said in the chat, over the next 3 weeks, let's try and get ourselves in a position where by round 4 and beyond that we're in a normal operational pattern. So certainly we'll let the umpires know that to show a little bit of discretion in the first couple of weeks whilst we all come out of our hiatus from August last. Well, it was even earlier than that, wasn't it? In July last year. So some common sense will apply in the first few weeks.
Thanks, Ashley. Amara?
Thank you.
Nathan, sorry. Previously in the past few years, you used to provide the Maccas Awards and the like to the younger age groups. Will that be happening this year?
Most certainly. So yes. Maccas is on board again, where this is appropriate for Southeast Junior clubs. We're just waiting on the delivery, Amara. So once they're there, they'll be available to be collected from the office.
Great, thanks.
How come the FDJFL clubs miss out there?
Unfortunately, we don't have a commercial arrangement with McDonald's within the Frankston area. We're working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just the Kasich clan through Casey, Cadinia, and Dandenong.
Sure.
Sorry, I just have another Stacey here again about shorts. Do we need to? We're having similar issues with from the Dolphins with shorts getting here on time. Do we need to let you guys know that players won't be wearing the right shorts, or it's okay?
My advice would be simply to notify the opposition on match day. Let's make it nice and simple.
Keep it simple, but obviously just give the opposition the respect, just to keep them aware of what's happening.
Yep, great.
So they know.
Awesome.
Jim, thanks for your patience, mate.
No, that's right. So with this video or the recording of this, when's that going to be available?
We'll upload it, we'll trim it, and we'll send it. So hopefully, mate, if I can fiddle with it and get it to a point where I'm ready to send it tonight, I'll send it. But I'd imagine tomorrow morning. Okay,
and the fixture will be loaded onto Play HQ. That's all. Won't be sent out like in a spreadsheet or anything to the secretaries.
It will, yeah. It could be both, Jim. What we're hoping to do is that if the spreadsheet looks accurate enough, we'll send the spreadsheet out as it is. But yeah,
normal process is to send it to the committee first, Shaun.
Yeah, it's the draft version is sitting with the umpiring coaches at the moment. And as I said, we're just ironing out some uploading issues, Jim, just to make sure that it looks and feels all right in the system. There will be week 1 uploaded only at this point, and then we'll upload the rest of them once we've done this first round test over and done with. Nathan, it's probably worth just noting with the under 15, the top age groups, that part of the grading changes from an operational sense is that we'll be scheduling the first 2 rounds as normal. Then we'll have a floating fixture for the remaining rounds 3 and 4, which will allow us to hopefully get better grading outcomes. So just for your awareness, if that hasn't been passed down the line.
Yeah, so understanding that we've got 2 leagues coming together in that space, Shaun, so SCJ and FDJ, and we just don't have the data. Obviously, we've got a pretty good understanding, and clubs have an understanding of where their teams are at. But by having this put in place by the certainly the grading subcommittee, it allows us the flexibility to make sure we've got competitive balance, but also to see the games that we need to see from a results perspective in those rounds. So thank you. Tammy, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, just quickly, are there club rooms?
Yes.
During the games, before the games and after the games, are parents allowed in the rooms?
Yeah, look, under the COVID protocols, each council will have different requirements in terms of the density rules. So I would first and foremost check with each of your respective councils. The second part of that is around child safety. We would encourage that from a child safety point of view that clubs consider whether it's actually appropriate to have adults in the change rooms at the end of the game. So we don't have a policy position on it. We're just simply, in terms of COVID, check with your local councils around their local requirements. In terms of a child safety position, check with your club around their own policies around child safety.
No worries. Thank you.
We've got Jason. Is that Jason there? We've got Officer.
Yeah, how are you, mate?
Yep, good, mate.
Just quickly on the under 12 girls, I saw the matrix just briefly there. Were you suggesting that we're doing under 12 aside and zoned?
I'll send up the updated, but certainly from the under 12 girls in the SCJ space, it's as per what was agreed by the presidents from 2021.
Okay. Can we? Yeah, we definitely need to take that offline and then put that out to all of the 12 girls in SCJ, mate, because that won't cut it for us. We've got 22 girls in under 12s. You're gonna have 10 on the bench.
Yeah. No worries, mate. We'll take this one offline. I've obviously got Shane Honey trying to reach out to me as well, so we'll speak with yourself and him around that.
Cool.
Jim, you got your hand up again, or is that the existing hand?
Sorry, do you have umpire coats in stock? Because I ordered some, but we were down there today and they didn't have any. Are they coming in soon, or what are we going to do if I don't have any?
They should be delivered as they're supplied by Loco, Jim. They should be delivered straight to the address supplied.
Okay, no worries. Thanks, mate.
Jeffrey?
Yeah, mate. Sorry, yes, a quick one. The wrist straps. So FDJ, we didn't use zones last year.
Wristbands, yep.
Yeah, so the wristbands. You've got them. Can I come pick them up?
Yes, we do. Yes,
tomorrow?
Absolutely. We'll work through. So again, just highlighting team managers in the non-competitive age brackets. The league, we're working to better align ourselves with the junior match policy. Part of that is from an AFL level wanting wristbands to outline the respective zones of these players and a position. So from that, we have certainly an allotment of stock from previous years that SEJ have had. So there is stock available, and yes, certainly, Jeff, we've got it available for ready to go. We've got certainly stock there, mate. So we'll coordinate, pick up with yourself.
Thank you.
Was that, sorry, did you say that was just for non-competitive age groups?
Yep, 8s, 9s and 10s.
Okay, thanks.
8s, 9s and 10s. Yep, the girl space. Yep. Any further questions? Jeff, you got your hand up, or that's you done? Jim, you're done?
One more, Nathan. Me again.
Yeah, I'm done, mate.
Thank you. Is that Amara?
Yeah, sorry, me again.
No
just
dramas.
with the team app, I've just gone into mine now. Is that right that it's changed names and it says it's now called Stack Team App? Is that right? And when will you be updating it with the docs?
Yeah, that's currently happening now.
Yep. So
thanks, Shaun.
No worries.
Well, it's only 7:38, but if there's no further questions, we'll close tonight's meeting. But thank you very much for all your support and your understanding over the last, certainly challenging year that we've had, but the last couple of weeks has been, no doubt, pretty frantic from yourselves. Again, this will be sent out, so if there's anything from tonight, please draw from this. Can't recommend the Play HQ webinars and videos that are on this link. Check them out. Send them to all your parents as well, some of the parents, so they can get hands-on and across that space to make your life a bit easier. Thank you. I know this was a week, and in some cases 2 weeks later than when we wanted to, but there's a lot of moving pieces at the moment with clubs and the ability for clubs to hold and, participate with their own respective teams, and we've got merged teams. So thank you for your understanding, and certainly thank you for your support tonight, and certainly the engagement. Have a good night. Look after yourselves and stay safe.